you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel.
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Today, we are going to recap parts of the NFL Combine as it's still going on right now, right at this moment. Quinnen Williams just busted 4.87. My goodness. Going to talk about DK Metcalf. I know that man has gone viral, but you're not really paying attention to what you should be. We're also going to get into how you can make some money even if you didn't go to the NFL Combine, but also how hard it is to make that money. I'm going to talk to Corey a bit about that in a little bit. But first, let's hear from the man with the plan. Kyler Murray been putting this together. Corey, what we got?
My agent and my coaches felt was best.
So that's Kyler Murray being interviewed at the NFL Combine. Went into the NFL Combine as a guy who could start, or not start, could go #1 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. Left as the guy people expect to go #1 overall to the Arizona Cardinals and didn't even throw a football. My goodness. By now you probably know Kyler Murray is 5 foot 10 inches tall and an eighth. Don't short him on the eighth. See what I did there? Short. But I think that this is really indicative of what the Combine has become. Why would you perform at the NFL Combine if you don't have to? And by have to, I mean nobody knows you. If you're DK Metcalf, you have to. If you are anybody else that didn't put up numbers, you have to. Unless you're just kind of the dude that wants to go through the underwear Olympics and just show everybody what you got. But what people don't seem to understand is that when the NFL Combine was thought of, when it was conceived in 1982, it was conceived for one reason, and one reason only: to get your medical history documented. That is it. They invited all of these players to one place so they could see how many times that shoulder has been separated, that knee has been blown apart, and those ribs have been broken. That's what the NFL Combine is about, and I support that part because we're in the meat market. You don't want to buy damaged goods. If you do, you want to know how many times that thing has been damaged. So if you're Kyler Murray, yes, you show up, you get measured, you show how thick you are, thick, 2 C's, 207, and then you do nothing. You talk about how you're getting ready for your pro day, which is a very controlled environment, which you'll throw to receivers you know if you're going to throw, and crucially, if you're Kyler Murray, he's going to give y'all what y'all want. It's the reason that I chose that cut to play. He's going to run the 40-yard dash at the pro day. I don't think he should. I don't think that man needs to be out there risking blowing out his hamstring so he can impress y'all. Y'all not a prom date, okay? I know y'all think y'all somebody, and I know y'all want to know how fast he is, but Lamar Jackson didn't run no 40. Why does Kyler Murray need to run a 40? And if you're a quarterback, there's no reason for you to run 40 yards downfield. Not why? All Dwayne Haskins did was lose himself some money. He ran 5.04, okay? Why would you run the 40 if you, I guess if you were being asked to look at another position, maybe you run the 40. But those dudes never say yes. That's part of this that I found was interesting. And we'll get into that in a bit. But real quick, for the folks that are listening from Oklahoma State, your boy Justice Hill, I know Corey is excited about this. He showed out. Potentially the first 2 running backs off the board come from Tulsa. My goodness, Josh Jacobs ain't show up, left as perhaps the #1 running back because all the running backs save Justice Hill looked like trash. Didn't look real good. Justice Hill dropped 4.4, jumped 40 inches, made himself some money. If he looks like the kind of guy that he did in 2017, there's no reason to believe Justice Hill is not a feature back for somebody. And we know the Eagles need somebody, but they haven't drafted anybody in like the first round, 33 years as a running back. I don't think they're going to do that now. And I also think that it's wasting money if you take a running back in the first round. I know there's some of y'all out here going, Zeke, though. Man, all right, cool. What if Zeke gets hurt? Then what? You going to risk it all on a dude y'all don't even know his first name? Huh? I don't think so. I think you're going to take one of these wide receivers don't see no playing time. You're going to put him back there and say, halfback. That's what you're going to do. But the other guy that made himself some money was Noah Fant. Dude ran 4.5 seconds, 6'4", 249 pounds. Now, this comes from Daniel Jeremiah, over there, Move the Sticks on the Twitters. He looked at the top 10 tight ends in the league last year. They all averaged about 6'5", 253 pounds. But only Jared Cook was as big and fast as Noah Fant, ran 4.5. So that dude made some money. Miles Boykin, though, Miles Boykin is the guy that y'all should be talking about when you're talking about DK Metcalf. I know the dude went viral, and I tweeted about the photo too because dude looked good with his shirt off. And I know that he's getting compared to Calvin Johnson. But your man's a 6'3", 228, 27 reps on bench, 40.5-inch vert, 4'3", 340. That drew a lot of, turned a lot of heads. And that 1.6% body fat is a bold-faced lie. Okay? This is me competing in shows, bodybuilding shows with the exercise science degree telling you, ain't no way you 1.6% body fat, and that's very unhealthy, and that ain't how you want to go through any kind of a workout environment. But the dude is lean. He's very lean. And now he's being compared to Calvin Johnson, and I don't like that. He ain't no Megatron. Megatron 6'5", 239, ran 4.35, right? But he also ain't dropped no 4.5 20-yard shuttle. Can't change directions to save his life, DK Metcalf. And people are talking about, yo, he jumped higher than Julio Jones. He faster than Julio Jones. Nah, just keep Julio Jones' name out your mouth. That's an all-pro. Okay? Who is DK Metcalf but a dude that saw limited playing time during his freshman year, was injured last year, baffled everybody with his decision to declare early for the draft, kind of like Mack Wilson out there at Alabama. And his game tape doesn't really offer NFL scouts the kind of things that they want to see. He caught 39 passes for 646 yards, 7 touchdowns over the course of his career. No, excuse me, that's as a starter. And then he followed next season with 26 catches, 569 yards over 7 games. What I'm saying here is DK Metcalf is the guy that needed to be a combine all-star. He needed to be a workout warrior. But we all know that workout warriors don't always turn into all-pros, Pro Bowl selections, instant starters, the kind of guys that can contribute in a big way. Then you look at Miles Boykin, and did that man ever show out? He's taller, 6'4", 220 pounds. My man dropped 4.47 in the 40. The dude broad jumped 11'8", and the man absolutely crushed his vert. 43.5 inches off the ground. 6'4", you got a 43-inch vert. All we're doing is throwing you jump balls all day. Dude coming out of Notre Dame. That man can absolutely play some football. And then I was really interested to see what some of these dudes were asked to do. So one of the quirks of the NFL Combine is you'll have teams that feel arrogant enough to tell these players to play a different position or to try out at a different position. So you had Nick Fitzgerald, who was asked to try out at tight end. You had Devin Singletary, who was asked to try out at wide receiver. Hakeem Butler at tight end. Ed Oliver at linebacker. And Draymond Jones at linebacker. Now, Nick Fitzgerald is quarterback. 6'5", 226, ran a 4.6, 440. Maybe he needs to think about getting his Tebow on. But Trace McSorley, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but, yo, my man was asked to play DB, which feels like a Mac Brown move. I don't know how salty I would be if somebody told me after playing 3 years, being mentioned in the same breath by Tim Brando, y'all need to go watch that video, as the next Baker Mayfield, how I would feel about somebody telling me, hey man, you're a good enough quarterback to play safety. I'd be so upset. I'd be so mad about that. And then Devin Motor Singletary, dude is actually short, 5'7". Let me say it again, 5'7", and ran 4.66. And numbers are numbers, and I understand that that's not what everybody's into, but we're going to get into some more numbers about dudes that didn't necessarily get invited to the Combine and how they can still make a living. Talk with Corey a little bit about that. And we'll come back with more on Fight Me. I'm going to tell you how much practice squad players get made, and I'm going to tell you why Jeff Badette made a lot of money. We'll be right back. And you're back with me on Fight Me. So, been talking about DK Metcalf, been talking about comparing him to Calvin Johnson. Some of y'all know this story, but I'm going to have Corey tell it from his perspective because Corey was at the NFL Combine going through it himself when Calvin Johnson did what he did. Corey, what do you recollect?
All right, on the Calvin Johnson story, so I was there the day that the receivers ran, and all the old linemen had just got done running and working out, and so they were coming in as we were leaving. And I knew a couple of receivers, and half the linemen had left already. And I was talking to one of the receivers, and another one came up, and he's like, yo, Calvin Johnson just grabbed somebody else's shoes, and he's going to run. And so the big story that weekend was he wasn't going to do any working out. He wasn't going to do anything. But the coaches at the combine, the scouts and all the coaches, they talk to you bad if you're not going to work out. You know, they start playing mind tricks, saying that, hey, you know, you're here to work out. Oh, so you're not going to work out. It's one of those situations where they're berating you in front of other players.
No, fat man, I'm not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
That's me, though.
And so as I was leaving, I didn't get to see him run the actual 40, but, you know, by the time word spread, he just said he had ran a 4.3 in somebody else's shoes, and that's the legend. That was the story after the combine that, you know, Calvin Johnson ran a 4.3 in somebody else's cleats.
Isn't that this is America, where we take the first story that we hear and we run with that, whether it's true or not. Well, I did some research on this. I looked this up because that's what I do. I'm that dude, that Ph.D. brain of mine. And what had happened was Calvin Johnson ain't take nobody's shoes. Calvin Johnson hands somebody else his shoes. Okay, so dude's name is James Pinckney, came out of East Carolina. I think my man played quarterback, but he showed up to the combine, same combine Corey's at, same combine Calvin Johnson was at, in Mike Vick's. I don't know if y'all remember Mike Vick's, but I remember Mike Vick's because I'm a sneakerhead, and them some turf shoes. And you ain't supposed to be out there running no 40-yard dashes in no turf shoes. I mean, you might as well be out there in your wingtips, in your slipping slides, in your water shoes. You better off running barefoot than you are running in them mugs because you just ain't gonna get no traction. Okay? So James Pinckney, you know, he out here running slow, and Calvin Johnson had heard that he didn't have shoes, found out he was the same size. He came up to him and said, hey, man, I can't let you be out here like this. Take my shoes. And for that, James Pinckney was all like, Calvin Johnson my favorite because all these other dudes saw me out here without no cleats and didn't hand me no cleats because they some busters. And Calvin Johnson did my man's a solid. He gave him some shoes. So Calvin Johnson, according to James Pinckney, other dudes, he was always going to run the 40-yard dash. He was there to set the world on fire. Because remember, he coming out of Georgia Tech. They don't throw the ball out there. I mean, they threw it to him.
Reggie Ball.
Man, just hey, you, go deep, and we'll just loft it up. Because you 6'5", 239 can jump out the building and outrun everybody. But I found it interesting that is the narrative that you can set up. And if you're smart about this, use it as a wrestling promo. That's what Calvin Johnson did. We're talking about this 12 years later. My man is retired. And that legend still goes around like the one about Dion running his 40, 4.2 backwards in sweatpants and Timberlands. Ain't no tape, so y'all can't prove it's wrong. That's how it's going to live in my life. In my head, in the theater of R.J. Young's 9-year-old mind, Deion Sanders is the fastest human being who ever lived. And I guess in some of y'all's mind, Calvin Johnson still the dude that took somebody else's shoes and ran a really fast 40-yard dash. Corey, what did you take away from competing in the NFL Combine? Like, why did you go through it?
Honestly, because I got the invite. So, I mean, that was like, you know, coming out, my agent was like, oh, you got invited. Like, that was a big thing. So I was like, I got to go. And being a virtual unknown, it was like a chance to kind of put some numbers out there and grab some, you know, some attention.
See, and that makes sense to me. It makes sense to me that if nobody knows your name, that you would show up and try to show out. Or if you're coming from a program that does not have pedigree, that, yeah, you're going to show out. So, like, my man's Andy Isabella, who flat out can fly, 5'9", come out of Mass. That'd be UMass. That'd be Massachusetts from you folks from Oklahoma. He was a Biletnikoff Award finalist. And everybody's like, yo, but he came out of UMass. They you know, they not FBS. They don't get like, well, I'm here to tell you, my man, he went to work on Georgia, but even y'all don't remember that. I'll tell you what you are going to remember. You're going to remember that Andy Isabella dropped 4.31 at this here combine. You're going to remember that my man has some outstanding hands. And in this world where we live today in the NFL, where we're all looking for short, fast dudes, we're looking for Brandon Cooks. He's faster than Brandon Cooks. Okay? Probably taller, too. I don't think Brandon Cooks is no 5'9". That might be what they tell him. But what's the big difference between Brandon Cooks and Andy Isabella? Nothing. Not a ting. Nothing at all. He's fast, and he can catch the rock. And if you want to stretch the field, you go get you an Andy Isabella. Okay? But back to Corey. Corey, I know you was running around like we were just talking about this at break. You running around at like 312. What you running around at like right now? Because like I saw you and you slim, dog.
257 as of this morning, man. I weigh in every morning, so it's
every morning.
A cool 257.
Yo, every bit as 6'6".
Yeah.
Corey's still on his fight me. But look. At the combine, what was the interview that you was like, this is weird? This don't feel right. Like, why y'all asking me these questions? Why y'all trying to get me bucking here?
Man, it wasn't. I didn't have those moments. You know, I roomed with Ryan Khalil.
Okay, yeah.
The starting center for the Panthers, and he had like private interviews. So each team has their own hotel room, and he would come back and tell me some of these interviews and some of the questions they were asking him. And he was like, man, you know, what do you do in your downtime? They'll bring up all the famous bars in the USC area. It's like, hey, we saw you at such and such bar. How much do you hang out there? You know, they just get real personal and intense. All my interviews, since I was like a projected fourth, free agent, was in the holding room. There's a big lobby where they send some coaches, and they'll just walk up to you. Yeah, and they'll just walk up to you and grab you. It'd be like a 5-minute interview. They ask you to draw some plays up or something like that, but nothing too wild. So I didn't get that experience of the crazy Des Bryant questions. You know, why is your mom a prostitute or something like that? I didn't get those.
Yo, man, NFL owners, NFL GMs, NFL scouts be acting buck wild. That's what I take away from the NFL Combine. They got an excuse to act buck wild. So they can be like, yeah, Trace McSorley, go out there and play, go through the DB drills. Or Des Bryant, man, I'd be fighting. I understand that part of this job interview is to try to rile you up because somebody's going to try to rile you up because you're in the league and you whoop-de-whoop. But why not ask me something? Why not ask me to quote Shakespeare? You know, it's in the same ballpark.
No, they don't care. They want to see how you react. They honestly want to see how, if you was in public and somebody came at you sideways, how would you react?
Man, I hope somebody was in like, I'll bust them in the mouth. I hope somebody doesn't take these interviews as seriously as they want you to. I understand it's a job interview and whatnot, but at the end of the day, see around corners. Like that's where I live. I live in this place where let's get past the superficial. Let's get to the dermis. Let's get to the marrow. Tell me a joke. You see me out here in my skivvies, okay? I got my shirt off in front of you. Tell me a joke.
Here's a better one. If I was an O-line coach and I'm about to draft the O-line, I want to know what kind of beer you drinking.
Yeah.
Like we gotta. Are you on Natty Lights? Are you drinking these fancy IPAs? What are we doing?
So I was about to say, like, if you're a right guard and you come out here drinking craft beers, who takes you seriously?
Not me. You got to be either a Coors Light, some kind of domestic, and then we on the same wavelength. I could draft you, but you out here drinking what? My Blue Moon with an orange slice. I can't draft you.
Can't draft you over Blue Moon. Nah, like let that be the breaking point. Let that be the thing. Yo, let me find out you out here drinking bully wheat. Nah, man, that sounds like an undrafted free agent to me. Nah, but like follow that through. You go through the combine. You didn't get drafted. I'm saying if you didn't get drafted, what would you do? I know you got drafted. I'm talking about what would you do if you didn't?
Man, you scratching and clawing at that point. I mean, you got to go back to your pro day, try to make some noise at your pro day. But if you didn't get drafted, you gotta do whatever comes to you. And like, if you got to go to Europe, you got to go to Europe at the time, which was the option for me. Or if you got to go to Canada, you got to go to Canada. If you got to play arena ball, you got to play arena ball.
You go to Europe.
You go to Europe?
Did you go to Europe?
No.
Okay. Well, look, on that, right, I got this interview that's going to run on the channel with Jeff Badette because Jeff Badette is one of these guys didn't get invited to the combine. And then pro day where he was supposed to be catching passes from Baker Mayfield, he ends up dropping 4.27 in the 40-yard dash. And I believe that is one of the reasons that he ended up making the practice squad for the Minnesota Vikings last year, wide receiver. And I was thinking about that, and I was asking him about it, and I'm looking up, because I'm a nerd, and I go through the CBA. And you make, this year, $8,000 a week over 17 weeks if you make the practice squads. 10 dudes on the practice squad. But there are some stipulations there. If you go longer than 2 years vested in the league, you can't be on the practice squad anymore. So, Corey, you a practice squad dude. What was that like for you?
Man, it was, I told you it was like purgatory, you know what I mean? Because you in between. You're not really nobody. You're not on the street, but you looking at all the guys around you doing the same amount of work as you are, but getting paid exponentially more. So, like, that's the thing. That's what you're up against because $8,000 a week, 17 weeks, simple math goes $136,000 over the year. After taxes, you're probably looking at a cool $100K. Which would be cool. You think, right? 100K
Right.
coming out of college.
Yeah, I mean, and let's draw out the fantasy here because it's not real, but let's draw it out. You work 4 days a week. You got Sundays off,
Yep.
right? And you get to say that you're a Minnesota Viking or you are a Patriot, right? To start with,
Nah, Colts.
Colts. Okay. So you get to say that, but at the end of the day, what's happening is you got dudes that are vets making millions of dollars going, pick up my check.
Yep.
Bring it back to me. You got dudes pulling 100K out of in stacks, 10K stacks, drop it in front of you talking about, yo, invest this money. And you looking going, man, that's you didn't even make that in a year, did
salary.
you?
No.
Yeah,
not
that's
my
right, because
first
this
year.
is 2019.
I made a cool $70,000 my first year. And I was on the practice squad for 5 weeks. And then the last 7 weeks, I was on the active roster.
Bro, all right, so being on the active roster, did you get a pay bump?
Yes.
To what?
It went up from 3,000 to, I want to say it was like 14. I was clearing 14 for a check.
Yo.
The last 7 weeks. Oh, my, you talk about lovely.
Okay, so like, all right, at the time, you married, you got a kid, right?
No, that was my rookie year.
That was your rookie year,
Yeah,
okay.
but my first 3 years was practice squad. So by that time, by
Oh,
the third,
so the CBA wouldn't have done you no favors now because 2016, that went from 3 to 2.
yeah, it wouldn't have done me no favors. And all 3 years, I had got the 3 games that you needed to get a credited season. So I was on and off every year those first 3 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So like in the months where you don't have a team, right? What are you doing?
Working out, trying to stay in shape. You bothering your agent, like, hey man, what's the deal? Where am I gonna be at? Did you give me a workout? What you hearing?
So when you get crickets, where's your psyche? Because like me, the only thing I have that compares to that is being a freelance writer. Right. That's how I paid the bills for 5-7 years, right? Ironically, people want to hear me speak now more than they want to read what I write. I got this book and whatnot. Right. But like it's nerve-wracking. I mean, it's every day.
Did you feel like you had a countdown in your head to like, if I don't get this, if something doesn't pop off in a certain amount of time, I'm done. I got to move on.
I mean, not for writing, but at the end of the day, it wears on you. Like I was depressed. I was in a bad way because I wasn't getting jobs, because my pitches were getting turned down. So I mean, I just that everyday unrelenting pressure to get a gig, and then you get a gig, and you're like, I can't mess this up. Because this is the most important thing that I have going on right now.
Right. So my first year, my rookie year was like that. I was drafted by the Patriots, but after the last preseason game, I got cut. And so I went back to Stillwater, man, and I had spent, my signing bonus was probably like, after taxes, $35,000 for a 6th-round pick. That money was almost gone because I got a truck and I took care of my mom and my dad and some other stuff. And so 3 weeks after I got cut, man, I'm in Stillwater at my girlfriend's house, who is now my wife. And I literally was down to like my last $200, 3 weeks. And I was like, man, I was working out every day, but it looked grim. I just didn't know, man. There's uncertainty just kills you.
See, that's real, and that is the part of the NFL player that nobody really wants to speak to. Nobody wants to speak to how you have to play 4 years in the league to get 2 health insurance, and that your pension might be taken out early because you're hurt. We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we come back after break. We're going to get into why I think the alliance is a really big deal, especially comparing it to NFL Europe. And we're going to get into whether or not you should really be thinking about playing football at a very high level for any length of time, because we know it's hazardous to your health, but also, can you make that lottery ticket count? This is Fight Me. We'll be back after the break. I love that story. Because Trace McSorley looks like the kind of dude that's going to end up on a practice squad. I understand what he was doing at Penn State, but I look at that dude and I see Kerry Collins light. I see a dude that can't carry Kerry Collins around on his back. And yet, baseball swings and whatnot. And never mind, I was handing the ball to Saquon Barkley half the time. You better go out there and play that DB. You ran 4.57. You better get your Eric Weddle on, Trace McSorley. Because at the end of the day, we were just talking to Corey about how, look, if you make that active man roster, you can triple your pay. And if you can make the roster as a safety as opposed to a quarterback, you better go out there and hit somebody. You better snatch you that INT. Because there's a big difference between making $8,000 a week, 2019, and making probably closer to $20,000, right? And then you're talking about if you make it into the league as a rookie, you know? I mean, we're talking about minimums getting up here around $495,000. And if you get the vested 4 years of NFL experience, you hit the threshold, they got to pay you $805,000. And at this point in your career, if you are an NFL or you're looking to be an NFL player, you have to try to cash the lottery ticket. I talk about it all the time. I will continue to. High school kids, 4 stars and 5 stars, have a lottery ticket. They're going to commit to a university that is going to be on TV, going to have the facilities in place to help them become better football players so that they can cash the next lottery ticket and be one of a lucky few who gets an opportunity to play in the NFL. And then if they can make it last, if they can get to the 4 years, they can earn the health care that they're going to need for the 5 years after the fact, and they're going to be able to draw on the pension. But you'll also notice that most dudes make it just 3 years on average in the NFL, because the NFL is not looking to take care of you. The NFL is money grubbing and money hungry, and they want to keep it all for themselves and not take care of the players, the labor. I've said it before. I'll say it again. NFLPA needs to be doing so much more. So when this CBA is up, Demaris Smith better go get them that money, or y'all need to go hire y'all somebody new. Bring Gene Upshaw back in here so you can get your loot. Because y'all need to be getting this health care after the way that you get savaged in your bodies. And, you know, I got Ray Lewis going to talk about this in a little bit. But look, this ain't the NBA. And I understand you got Ty Gurley, you got Antonio Brown, you got Odell Beckham talking about, I want to just get NBA money. Well, then y'all need to get better representation at the NFLPA level. That's how you going to get it. The lockout needs to come. Otherwise, I'm not going to believe anything y'all have to say. Y'all not going to take care of yourselves. Because it can't be next man up in your sport. It has to be, no, you're going to take care of me right now. Because I am valuable. Because somebody paid a lot of money to put me in position to be valuable to you as the NFL. This is why the alliance is a big deal for the NFL and players. You're talking about 3 years, $250,000, $70,000 in the first year. Now, what if you can stack an alliance check on top of a practice squad check, on top of an active man roster check? Then you can double your money. You know, yes, I mean, y'all dunking on Trent Richardson because he didn't come out here and do nothing for the Colts. But look, at the Birmingham Iron, he's going to make a team in the NFL after getting his check from the alliance. And the $70,000 is a really big deal for what these dudes are getting paid in the Spring League, because it wasn't that long ago that NFL Europe existed. You know, I'm reading Nate Jackson's book. It's really good. It's called Slow Getting Up. It's about a story of survival from the bottom of the pile. This is a guy that was D3 out of Menlo, was an All-American there. He had all of 27 catches and 2 touchdowns in an 8-year career in the NFL. How did he make it work? He took every opportunity to get his butt kicked, is what he did. He got the $600 a week check to go play for the Rain Fire. Now, I'm an NFL Germany, or NFL Europe fan, NFL Europa, World Football League. I was watching on Fox Sports. I was a Rain Fire fan. But let's not pretend that these dudes were making loot. You know, you getting hurt, talking about experience. Man, I'm a professional. What do I need experience for? I'm in the league. Y'all sent me over here for what? Development? I don't need development. I need a check. I am a professional football player. Pay me to do my job. If you're good at your job, never do it for free. Period. Somebody is going to value your labor. So I'm telling these kids, look, the NFL is where you want to be. I get that. But if the alliance comes knocking at your door, and if Vince McMahon is willing to pay you some money, you better get that money. You better get it. You better invest it. You better figure out what you can get 2% on a CD right now at Arvest State Bank. Okay? Drop 60 grand in the CD. Make your 3,000. Make your Come on, man.
You sound like Carl Nassib about the Hard Knocks right now.
Hey, look, that's my life though, right? Look, we're talking about I got from a step mill to talking to you on the radio. Okay?
There's nothing sexy about that CD. NFL players, they don't find anything. 10%? I'm gonna make 10% on this money or 2%. There's nothing sexy about that.
You better go buy a Honda Civic cash. You better get liability on that mug. If I see some of y'all running around here with a Ferrari, I'm going to ask you, what's your insurance bill? Okay? What's the insurance on a Ferrari? Huh?
A lot.
Yeah. Well, you know what the insurance is on a Ferrari? 3 Honda Civics. Okay? I know people want to take care of their parents, and I'm one of those people, right? You know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to talk to my parents like an adult now. You know, after grinding. You know, writing for this, writing for that. Getting fired at that job. Having bosses talk about me after they fired me. You know, it's nobody's out here looking for you, man. They're not looking after you. And you're a player now, which means everybody's going to have their hand out talking to you. Which means everybody knows that Josh Jacobs and Justice Hill are being talked about as the first running backs off the board. They better turn down everybody. They better tell everybody they know to kick rocks. Because the only people that you owe are yourselves. And when your parents raised you right, like mine, they'll say, look, man, I don't want your money. I'm proud of you. You did that. My parents, man, love them so much. And that's what I get from most of the parents of these recruits. They don't want to cash in. I mean, Corey's talking about, you know, taking care of his parents, but that's something he wanted to do. That ain't what they asked him to do.
Never once asked me.
Yeah. You felt like you owed that to your parents. You know, I feel like I owe my parents. Bryce Harper's staring at $330 million on this TV screen out here over 13 years. No opt-out clause. I don't know. I won't be anywhere for 13 years. But I guarantee you, if his parents look for even a moment like they struggling, he going to be knocking at the door talking about, you better take this money. And you know what? Bryce, take $327 million, put it in that CD, 2%. What's 2% on 327 million? Huh? You know what it is? It's an NBA team. That's what it is. Hey, man, don't out here get rich. Get out here being wealthy. Matter of fact, I'm going to teach y'all how to save some money right now. Text Trey's Tulsa. Text Fight Me to 5925 for a free appetizer at Trey's Bar and Grill. See what I did for you? I just bought you lunch. I'm taking care of y'all. Giving investment advice out here. We'll be back for the final segment of Fight Me. I'm dropping some knowledge when we get back here. You better be here.
The NFL players look at NBA players and think, guaranteed contracts, they make money on their shoes.
Well, I think the fact of it is they have a much easier life. Let's just say that. Yeah, it's that's no secret. I personally went away from basketball when I was in the 9th grade.
Why?
Because this guy went up, if I was playing for Kathleen Junior High, this guy goes up to lay the ball up, and I hustle down court, and I knock the ball out of his hands, and I foul him hard. And he gets up, and he's screaming, and he's crying. He's like, oh, my gosh, you fouled me. And the coach is backing him like, Ray, you can't foul. I was like, what do you mean? I'm not supposed to let him go to the basket and just get a clear basket. And he made this big fuss. So I said, I quit. It was the only thing I ever quit in my life.
Basketball.
And I walked out of basketball. He was like, why do you quit? I said, this game is way too soft.
Yeah, well, you quit. You passed up max deal like Anthony Davis making $244 million. You quit. You passed up 4 years, 157 or whatever LeBron is. You quit. You passed up Steph Curry money. You quit. Carmelo Anthony has been paid more in the past 2 years to not play basketball than Todd Gurley has to play running back for the Los Angeles Rams. Ray Lewis is not dropping knowledge on you. Ray Lewis is talking about how he got beat up for little to nothing compared to what he could have made, because Ray Lewis was a really great basketball player in high school, and he was actually a pretty good wrestler. You know, what if Ray Lewis had decided that he wanted to be Bones Jones or Daniel Cormier? Okay? Because if you are a great football player, you're probably one of the best athletes in the entire world. Just talking to Corey at break about how many dudes are running 4.3 to 4.49. And how many of those guys could be world-class track athletes. Go over, run in the Diamond League, make a little bit of loot, come back, invest that money. I'm telling you, invest your money. Goodness me. Yo, Corey, tell that story about Titus Young. Put him on blast.
Oh, man. Titus. I was walking through the lunchroom, and every first week of November, the the front office people come down from finance, and they help you enroll in your 401k, and you go over your options, and the club will match up to $17,500 for every dollar you put in. They will match 100%. And so I'm walking through. Titus is a rookie, and he tells the lady, "No, I don't want to do that." And the explanation was, "I like my money being in my bank account." And so I waited. I ate my lunch. I waited till he got up and walked out, and I just snuck up right behind him. I was like, "Titus, come on. We're going right back in there because you on some other stuff." And I had to explain to him. I was like, "Man, this is what they're offering you. It's a free $17,500." And he could not grasp the idea of why he should put that money away and save it.
Titus Young, coming out of Boise State, ain't really make loot like that. His base salary in 2013 was $908,000. You put $17,500 into your 401k on general principle, on GP, because you got it. And when you're 60, you're going to want it. Look here, y'all. Look up traditional IRA. Look up Roth IRA. Find you somebody that you can trust to do the money fool on you. Start watching you some NBC and get your finances right if you play professional football. Look, we're talking about, Corey, how many times you been hurt, man?
About in the league, it was like 4 or 5 times. I did my MCL like 2 or 3 times. Broke my foot.
You ever look at the bill on getting your MCL repaired?
No.
Yeah, let's see, that's the other part, right? Because the NFL specializes in having doctors and trainers that are the best at what they do, who got books thick of your medical information. Remember, that's the reason for the combine. So that they can help put you back together as quickly as possible. So you have the best in the world working on you, who know you like the back of their own hand, know you like their own children. And then when you're no longer playing football, you don't have access to that health care anymore. Okay? I mean, Corey names his fantasy football team CTE. We have players that are trying to sue the NFL because they are not certain that their brains are going to be functional when they get into old age. Okay? The boomers among us will tell you they take care of their money. The Gen Xers among us will tell you they take care of their money. Millennials, Gen Zs, take your $100 in your savings account, put it into a CD if you can. Help your parents match you. That was what I had growing up. Okay, my parents were like, "Yo, anything you want to put in a savings account, we'll put in there too." I got the Titus Young. I got the Titus Young talk. And I see Titus Young, I'm going to bust his head. I'm murdered. Going to be some furniture moving over this. You had $17,500. Well, you ain't going to miss that. You didn't need that to live. Come on, man. Put your money in the bank. All right? And while we're talking about putting money in the bank, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are going to have pro days. We know this. Oklahoma's pro day is on March 13th. I don't really mess with Stillwater like that. But they're going to have pro days. Okay?
It's usually the day before or the day after.
Right. And what you're going to do is if you are Carson Meyer, for instance, and you trying to make it into the league, you better show out. That is what you're there for. You better tell Kyler Murray to throw you all the passes. Look, I'm the only dude running routes today. And that's the thing, though. Like, Carson Meyer has an opportunity to not necessarily be Jeff Badette because he ain't going to throw no 4.27 down. But you really ain't got nobody for Kyler to throw to. Marquise Brown is hurt. I think CeeDee Lamb can catch passes because I think he's a year away. But you ain't really got dudes like that. So if you're the only guy that's got some chemistry of any kind with Kyler Murray, you got to be saying, "Throw me the ball. Watch what I do with it." You know, I mean, otherwise you're going to have dudes out there like Tyler Tettleton, who had a good time last time I saw him at a pro day. He was throwing bombs. You know, now he's a offensive quality control analyst at Cleveland. And that's the other thing that you really need to be doing if you're going through this combine. While you're getting interviewed, interview these coaches. Yo, you're going to talk noise to me, but you're going to tell me how to get a job. You're going to tell me how to be an assistant coach. You're going to tell me how to get one of these D1 assistant jobs. You got Malcolm Kelly out here at TCU. You got DeMarco Murray out here at Arizona. Hey, man, make your loot, then make more.
It's called networking.
Hey, you better be buttonholing your agent.
And most cats don't understand that coming out. They don't understand networking.
Nah, they gonna understand and talking. I cover recruiting. We talk about way more than football. Like if you're on the channel, and I put interviews with the kids up on the channel, and it's real light. Sometimes we talk football. Sometimes we talk about Batman and Joker. But when we not talking, everything that don't go on that channel, we talk about, hey, you take care of yourself? Huh? You staying out of trouble? No, yes, sir. Don't give me the yes, sir. Don't give me the yes, sir. What are you doing when you get done playing football? I don't really know. You better go get this energy management degree, okay? I don't want you out here just trying to get a job. I want you running the businesses, Come on, young man, stay up. We going to church on Sunday morning here. I'm trying to tell y'all, all right? There is no reason for you not to have your finances in order if you're a professional football player, and that is what I think the Combine underscores best about itself. We are here to make money on you. That's why we going to talk to you any kind of way. That's why we going to push your buttons. we going to make you dress the same. We're going to see which one of you can beat the other ones out for a job. It is a gladiatorial arena if there ever was one. And the only people getting paid on the regular are the people sitting in the stands. I'm just trying to let y'all know, man. Hey, Corey, right quick. What was your takeaway from watching some of these dudes compete? Like we watch it on the TV. You and I, we football nerds. What were your takeaway from watching any one of these offensive linemen, any one of these skilled players go through this combine?
Man, it really, it's like, it's an audition. It really is. And I know we talked about Mel Kiper off the air, saying that he would never, if he was the agent, he wouldn't send his kids to work out there. But for a guy like me, it's you scratching and clawing, man. It's every opportunity you get to be in front of a scout and show them what you can do. And that's what it looked like, man. It's just a bunch of dudes out there trying to get it in. And it's a humbling experience because you come from your college, you that guy. Mm. And like you said, they put you all in the same uniform. Now you just another dude. And we're going to see which one of these dudes looks good in their shorts, can run really fast, is here to work out. So that's what I took away from it. Who's out here to get this money? Who's going to go out there and ball out, even though we're in shorts and shirts? Who's out here to really show these scouts, hey, I got it? Man, that's what it's about, though, right? And just keep that 100 in your head. Keep it all the way up. Always have your ears open for and that's why I love the Alliance. I watch it when it's on. I have people that tell me, yo, man, the Alliance is bad football. All right, y'all watch Nathan Peterson throw 6 interceptions in one half of football. Don't tell me about no bad football. That dude's still in the NFL. And got another start after that. My goodness. If somebody ever needed to quit playing football and open a ministry, it's Nathan Peterman, the Peterman. If anybody ever needed to quit playing football and become a quarterback coach, it's Nathan Peterman. So we're looking at 10, 12 dudes in the Alliance right now that I would trust to be a quarterback over Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman's still in the NFL. Oakland Raiders. And now Johnny Manziel is taking over the Alliance. Yo, that's the most popular person in the Alliance right now is the dude that can't even get a check cut. Okay? We're not talking about the Alliance and the good football now. We're talking about whether or not Johnny Football is going to play in it. Because we all love a heel. We all love a bad guy. That's what wrestling is. Wrestling is heels and baby-faced heroes. And once you're no longer a baby-faced hero, you become The Rock. Wanted to be Rocky Johnson. But you know what? He made it work. And that's what we did today. We made it work. Like to thank sponsors. American Putter Company, man. Hey, that's my heart right there. If you need a putter, go to AmericanPutterCompany.com. Follow them on IG. They're giving away a putter, man. They're giving away stuff all the time. Trey's Tulsa, Trey's Bar and Grill. Text 59925. 599. Excuse me. 59. What did I say? 2 9s. 559-925. 59925. Trey's Tulsa. Text fight me. Travis is going to eat me alive for that. Steve Bullard. That's my homie. We're still looking for houses. If you need a realtor, that's mine. He's my man's. Give him a call. Love him. Love all of my sponsors. If you're interested in sponsoring a segment,
give me a call. Reach out on Twitter. You know what time it is. Corey, I appreciate your money.
Much love, man.
All right. We out here. Deuces.